Which celebrity did you meet and found they were much kinder, ruder than you expected? Bobby Flay is a complete douche. I worked with Mads Mikkelsen. He is the nicest person you will ever meet. Zero ego. Just a pleasure to work with. I was about 8 when I stumbled across Stephen King. He was in a rush getting out of a limo into a building, so I quick shouted, "Mr. King, the first love Cujo." He gave me a bemused smile and said, "Who the hell let this kid read Cujo?" Saw Ryan Gosling at my brother's graduation. His mom was graduating with a master's degree from same school. Ryan sat in front of me. He clapped for every kid who got on stage to get their diploma. I was so tired from such a long ceremony that I almost didn't even clap for my brother. Nick Offerman is a gem of a human being. He came to my small college in an Illinois suburb for a book tour thing, and I was in an a cappella group at the time, and we were rehearsing in the building where he was doing the signing, and he accidentally walked in on us and ended up staying to listen to a song. Complimented us. Hung out for 5 minutes and signed stuff for all of us. Super genuine. Funny guy. I saw Bryan Cranston at the Space Needle, didn't ogle but made eye contact. He knew I recognized him. But I didn't say anything. Oddly, later that same day saw him in a nearby bar. He paid for a round for my friend and I as he left. Pretty sure he appreciated not bothering him. Super nice. Was at the Blue Lagoon in Iceland and someone floated by me that I recognized but couldn't put a name to. I kept stealing glances at him to try and figure out who he was. When I finally figured out it was Ryan Gosling, he must have seen the realization on my face. Because he smiled at me, winked, and put his finger over his lips in a shish gesture. I think no one else had recognized him. He had a full beard. Left him alone. As you do. But I'll always remember that wink. Secondhand story. A friend worked at the Reagan Library and Adam Sandler visited with his kids. She said he was really friendly and super accommodating with fans. He only asked they not bother or photograph his kids. Which is totally fair. I met Penn and Teller in NYC when they did some NYC shows one year. They had a meet and greet and I got to meet both of them. I was kinda starstruck because I was a big fan. But they were super cool about it. And it was really weird for Teller to talk to me. Also, Teller isn't short, Penn is just fucking huge. Brad Pitt is a top-notch guy in real life. I met him in Malta while he was filming Troy. I was guiding a group of students as a group leader on a holiday trip and we saw Pitt just walking out of a cafe. He took time to take lots of pictures with all the kids and was really nice to everyone. Among my group were a bunch of teenage girls who almost fainted. Hilarious day all around. Haven't had many rude experiences. But I can definitely attest that Michael Fassbender was a kind man who acted more excited to meet me than I was to meet him. Very satisfied by that experience. Brent Hines from Mastodon was the biggest asshole I've ever met back in 2009. Met him again in 2012 and he invited me to join him for drinks at a local bar, where we talked for hours and he turned out to be the coolest famous person I've ever met. Turns out, sometimes people just have a bad day. Met Mark Hamill at a comic book store in Maryland back in '96. What a kind and friendly guy. Kinder, Hugh Jackman. He's known for being nice, but I didn't expect him to be so genuine and actually keep the conversation going and to keep asking questions and showing interest. It must be exhausting considering how many people he meets every day. Yet he is always on. Ruder, Will Ferrell. He's known for being rude and mean and I thought maybe it was exaggerated as people might expect him to be nice and funny and are disappointed when he's not. He was okay to me as in he didn't talk any shit, but I saw him being a complete and utter prick to others. Kristen Bell, one of the most sweetest, down-to-earth people you'll ever meet. I worked at a high-end hotel spa and she came in on one of our most busiest weekends and was so patient. Most celebrities I encountered booked with aliases and through an assistant. She just called in on her own and booked as any other person would. This seems like the bare minimum. But I've had some super needy celebrity guests. She is also an extremely generous tipper. She is the exact person that she appears in TV interviews. I was in room service for many years. The best was when Snoop Dogg rented out the entire floor. It was the smoking floor. But it wasn't long until the whole hotel smelled like it. His whole floor ordered a lot of room service. Tipped well and left behind a little something. Dawn. Magic. Juan was there too, handing out backstage passes to staff. Best work weekend ever. I met Liam Hemsworth at a supermarket in a small coastal town in Australia earlier this year. I almost didn't even notice it was him as he fit in seamlessly being the down-to-earth, laid-back Aussie guy he is. He was super nice and genuine and even made an effort to thank the employees and the store's security on his way out. Weird Al. We got to do a meet and greet with him after a long show. And this guy works his ass off in his shows, multiple costume changes and never stops moving. He was exhausted but took the time to chat with me about places to buy the kind of zoot suit he wore on stage. I told him about a place in Seattle and he told me about a place in St. Louis. Super nice even though he was so obviously worn out. Met Jason Momoa at a con a few years back when I only knew him from Game of Thrones. His positive energy and sense of humor is very disarming despite him being so big and imposing. Alexander Skarsgard is very nice and patient. I met him while he was in town filming a scene for Hold the Dark. He told me about the project and what scenes they were filming here. Joan Cusack. Met her at a bar. She was really nice. Robin Williams was shooting a film in my city. He stopped by the nearest senior home just to say hello and take pictures with the residents. No other reason than to brighten up their day. Class act of a man. My grandma was a resident. I met Fred Rogers. Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. Several times. He was exactly as nice and kind and wonderful as you'd think he was. I came here expecting to see loads of people talking about celebrities who are secretly douches, but turns out most people have had great encounters with celebs. I mean, I expected Matthew McConaughey to be nice. But he was just so thoughtful and engaging. Truly a great experience meeting him. I met Gordon Ramsay once at a book signing event. I was just walking around the area and ran into him on his free time. He was actually so nice and down to earth. Talked about food for a few minutes and how he's liking his trip so far. Super nice guy and nothing like you see on his cooking shows. Chris Noth. Sex and the City's Mr. Big. Sat next to my brother on a flight years ago. My brother can't have been more than 10 at the time and used to get super nervous and travel sick on flights. Chris Noth was unbelievably kind to him. Told my mum he was happy to keep an eye on him. Made sure he had plenty to drink and extra blankets. And even offered him his dessert because he woke up after food had been around. He was just such a lovely man and made my bro feel loads better. Genuinely awesome guy. Michael Sheen. He does a lot of charity work for our shared hometown. I had no idea just how well known he was as a kid. Years ago he spent a night bowling with our youth club. It's been a decade and I'm still blown away by how caring and genuine he was. He's always doing something wonderful for the people in South Wales. And every time I hear about what he's up to I still can't believe my luck that I met him. He's the best of the Welsh. I always figured Stephen Amell from Arrow would be a chill dude. But I did not expect him to remember me from a Facebook interaction we had months prior to meeting. He's such a nice guy. A buddy of mine met Jason Momoa and Ezra Miller twice each and they both gleefully shouted his name the second time. Also I recall a comedian being impressed when he met Arnold Schwarzenegger. The man has a bodyguard who has to stop him from talking to a single fan for too long. Otherwise he would have never stopped on time for the rest of the fans to get their turn to speak to him. Imagine being so nice to your fans that you need someone to stop you. Edit. Gabriel Iglesias A.K.A. Fluffy is the name of the comedian.